Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Content Update 10, featuring a plethora of exciting changes and additions, including the highly anticipated F1 2024 lineup. The developers promote the new lineup as an evolution from last year's 2023 car, but in my opinion, it's a much bigger and monumental leap forward. This year, the car finally feels truly drivable, making a significant mark in the game's development. Personally, I've had my fair share of complaints about the last year's car, so I'm super thrilled to see the positive changes. But before we dive into the details, let me quickly highlight what's new in this update. As mentioned, we have the full 2024 F1 lineup with their real-life performance stats. Enhancement and changes have been made to every single car from the 1990 classics to the Indy cars. Each vehicle has been fine-tuned in terms of power, downforce, grip, and cost, ensuring competitiveness across the board. Additionally, Formula 2, or as the developers refer to it, Formula B, makes its debut in the game, presenting a fresh challenge for us enthusiasts of less grippy and more slide-prone cars. Yes, it's a Game Pass car, but rest assured, the developers have halved the price of this Game Pass car compared to the others, making it more accessible to a wider audience. After the beloved addition of custom helmets to the game, the developers have been hard at work to add more custom helmets, making sure that almost all of the major countries have their own helmets. In total, 16 new country helmets have been added, alongside 18 new generic designs and 4 premium helmets. Those include Sebastian Vettel's championship-winning one, Michael Schumacher's Ferrari variant, and Lewis Hamilton's Blessed helmet. Oh, and also a cut one for some reason. Yeah, the owner loves cuts. And on the topic of helmets, let me also introduce you to our sponsor, Inquires. Great segue to our sponsor, right? Yeah, I know. They offer top quality helmets, merchandise, and their latest addition, the official roarthurv headsets. Their products are really high quality but also very affordable. Don't miss out on this, check them out through the link in the description. So, where were we? Yes, the game also introduces some highly anticipated changes like the ability to remove the driver's hands and brand new control options specifically designed for our mobile gang. Those new controls will hopefully help those mobile users stay a tiny bit more competitive compared to the PC players. That's all in short, however, now let's dive straight into the details. Purely in terms of aesthetics, this year's cars are bounds ahead of the last year's models. With slick new rim designs, slimmer front wings, smoother rear wings, updated wheel covers, extended wheelbases, and a beautifully detailed chassis, the visual appeal is undeniably enhanced across the board. You guys have no idea how glad I am that the front wing has been revamped. It truly looked like a cucumber last year. Lastly, the liveries this year are absolutely incredible. It seems like the developers opted for a significantly higher quality texture. Combine that with the different matte and chrome materials, you're easily looking at some of the most stunning F1 cars ever seen on Roblox. Let's not stop there, however, let's talk about the visible upgrades. It's become a very anticipated feature and is one that sets the Roblox F1 experience apart from even the official F1 games. Upgrades changing the look of your car is my personal favorite feature of Project Apex, so it's great to see them retain the feature for yet another year. 3D aside, the new UI that's made its way into the game is also a much needed refresher if you ask me. So aesthetics aside, let's dive into the performance because this is where the 2024 lineup truly shines. Let's take a step back then to 2023 before we see what's new in 2024. The previous year was filled with massive problems. Personally, I was never a fan for two significant reasons. Firstly, the way that the cars handled bumps was less than ideal. And secondly, the imbalance between downforce and grip was overwhelming. Combine these two factors and you've got yourself a heavily understeering car that could easily spin out of control at the slightest bump on the road. So I'm very happy to report that the new physics model is much improved this year. The downforce levels have been fine-tuned and there is a new suspension system to ensure a more dynamic shift in the car's weight distribution. Moreover, the thinner chassis design and extended wheelbase contribute to an overall better sense of responsiveness and dynamicism, enhancing the driving experience significantly. Furthermore, the new suspension has also been designed to better handle bumps. While it's made a few leaps forward, there is still progress to be made before bumps are completely eliminated. Another complaint that many of us had was the sluggishness in generating ERS. It led to some rather odd maneuvers, like constantly tapping the throttle and brake on straights just to recharge ERS. However, this year the ERS recharge rate has been notably improved. While it might not be entirely realistic, it is a player-friendly improvement over the previous system. Personally, I also hope for a feature that uses exhaust gases for regeneration, just like real-life F1 cars. Lastly, a really important feature is tire rebalancing. You see, in 2023, the best strategy in league races, and just races in general, was to go for soft, 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 soft. The mediums and hards felt awful, and you could honestly be losing yourself seconds and seconds per lap. This year, however, the physics have changed, and apparently we can now also make use of mediums and hards. I did an 8 lapper race simulation between 3 compounds in Hockenheim, and here is what I found. So basically, the best lap that I set with the hards was a 106.3, on the mediums I set a 105.5, and on the softs I set a 105.0. After the 8 laps, the tire wear on hards was 2.8%, 8.9% on the mediums, and 14.5% on the softs. What I also noticed was that the front tires had 3 to 10% more tire wear than the rears. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time for a full race simulation, but from the looks of things, the mediums could very much be used alongside the softs. So is the soft still the best tire? Well, subscribe, because the ultimate race simulation is coming soon. Moving on, I also put a Red Bull and an Alpine through a qualifying simulation. What I found is that the Alpine, which is considered the worst car on Project Apex, and maybe in real life, was a significant 1 second slower than the Red Bull. Oh, and a final stat for you, the Formula 2, or Formula B as the devs call it, also went through a qualifying simulation, and what we learned was that it was around 5.5 seconds slower than a 2024 Red Bull. So that's all for us nerds, and without further ado, let me fully upgrade my Red Bull real quick, and let's jump into Project Apex so you guys can see how these 2024 F1 cars look out on track. So here we are then, out of the final corner here in Silverstone. I took my fully upgraded Red Bull. I just did it right before coming here, so this is a fully upgraded Red Bull heading down into Abbey. This is known to be a very flat out corner, and it very much is. There's still that tiny bit of understeer that actually differentiates Project Apex from the other F1 games, but it's not as bad as it was last year, and I'm really happy about that. As you can see, also just a little bit of oversteer on the exit, which is great to see. I love oversteery cars, and this just suits my driving style way better. Now, heading into here, I believe this is Brooklands and then Laffield. Very legendary battles have been had through here. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. As we move on to co-ops, very legendary battles have been had through there as well. Now, don't hate me in the comments, I am a Max fan, but it is a legendary moment from the 2021 F1 season, and apparently co-ops is not flat out in these new regs, which is kind of weird to see actually, because I think it was flat last season, but that's alright. Yeah, that's a lap invalidation, we're not bothered about that. Let me actually show you how much faster the ERS regeneration is as well. So let's just break onto here. You can easily regenerate 30% of your ERS on one big straight. So that's really cool to see. Again, not the most realistic feature, but I'm okay with it. At least we don't have to do those maneuvers we used to do last season. They were incredibly funny. But here we go. Next lap then. This should be our final one if we do everything correctly. Through Abbey flats out, heading into the next sequence of corners. I'm actually kind of surprised there's still no braking boards on the left-hand side, which actually would tell us where to actually brake. It's getting really confusing to know where the braking point is, but that's alright. You guys can use the racing line as well, which is another feature that was added last year. But here we go, through the straight then. Also, one thing you guys should note is that if you lift, so no throttle, no brake on the straight, your DRS closes automatically and your ERS also stops deploying from what I've seen, so that's alright. Then sector 1 is the quickest one. I'm not gonna attempt cops flat because that was nowhere near flat last time around, or is it? Oh, it actually is flat out. Okay, well, never mind. I'm just spreading misinformation, I suppose. Through cops, Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel, then we go. But yeah, as you guys saw, it can be down flat out. This is the most upgraded car you can possibly get. This is the fastest car you can get. I'm not sure that you can do that with lower tier cars, but definitely the Red Bull, the fully upgraded Red Bull, is able to do that, as we found out just now. So Stowe is the most bumpy corner, and it still is actually kind of very bumpy on Silverstone. But at least I was able to save the car. I knew what was coming for me. The new suspension kind of helped me, although, again, as we said, some steps need to be taken, but this is at a much more acceptable level, and 129.4 is the lap time for you guys to beat. Let me know if you can do this in the comments. So these were the new 2024 F1 cars. We have still yet to cover what's new with the other cars, the tire compounds and everything. Massive videos coming soon comparing everything. We will be ranking each and every car one by one. We'll be seeing how the tires perform through a race distance. Everything will be available on my channel in just a few weeks' time. I also want to say massive thanks to the roarthurv members who are actually supporting me right now. I also have a goal to buy myself a new computer because at this pace, videos are fairly slow to make. So if you guys want to see more frequent videos, more high quality videos, do go ahead, join as a member, maybe make a donation. I would very, very much appreciate it. But yeah, guys, that's all from me. If you enjoyed, do hit that subscribe button as every single YouTuber in the whole entire world would say. And I'll catch you guys in my very next video. Bye bye.